From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, February 10th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.22 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,189 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $380. Antiwar.com reports an airstrike in southern Syria's Daraa province hit a Doctors Without Borders supported hospital earlier this week, killing at least 3 people and wounding 6 others, including a nurse who was working at the facility. Doctors Without Borders reported that the strike incapacitated the hospital's ambulance service and did some damage to the building, which is just 7 miles away from the Jordanian border near Tafas. Doctors Without Borders also reported some 20,000 civilians fled the area. Fighting has picked up in the Daraa province in recent weeks, with the Syrian military advancing into multiple towns and chasing the rebels back. When Jordan was allowing rebels to use their territory, they were able to amass significant gains in Daraa. In recent months, Doctors Without Borders hospitals have been hit in growing numbers in Syria and Yemen, while the U.S. attacked a major hospital in Afghanistan late last year. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. UPI reports tens of thousands of convicted felons living in the state of Maryland will be able to vote in all future state elections, including this year's, regardless of whether or not they have completed their terms of their probation or parole. The Maryland Senate on Tuesday struck down a veto by Governor Larry Hogan by a vote of 29-18. The bill to extend felons' voting rights was first introduced in last year's General Assembly. Democratic lawmakers reinstated the bill this year and it passed, but that plan hit a snag when Hogan broke out his 6th veto to freeze the bill in its tracks. The Maryland House of Delegates also voted to overturn Hogan's veto last month. Presently, convicted felons in Maryland must complete the terms of their parole and probation before they are allowed to register to vote. This bill removes that stipulation and will allow tens of thousands of newly released felons to participate in the voting process. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the U.S. Supreme Court on Tuesday delivered a major blow to President Barack Obama by putting on hold federal regulations to curb carbon dioxide emissions, mainly from coal-firing power plants, the centerpiece of his administration's strategy to combat climate change. The court voted 5-4 along ideological lines to grant a request by 27 states and various companies and business groups to block the administration's Clean Power Plan, which also mandates a shift to renewable energy away from fossil fuels. The highly unusual move by the justices means the regulations will not be in effect while a court battle continues over their legality. The White House on Tuesday night said it disagrees with the court decision, but said it expects the rule will survive the legal challenge. The plan was designed to lower carbon emissions from U.S. power plants by 2030 to 32% below 2005 levels. It is the main tool for the United States to meet the emissions reduction target it pledged at UN climate talks in Paris in December. A senior administration official told reporters on Tuesday night that despite the court's procedural decision, the United States can deliver those commitments and take new and additional steps to lead internationally on climate change. The action by the Supreme Court casts some doubt on the long-term future of the EPA's rule because it increases the chances that the conservative-leaning Supreme Court would take the case after a lower court issues a decision on the legality of the regulations and ultimately would strike it down. As recently as June, the High Court ruled 5-4 against the Obama administration over its efforts to regulate mercury and other toxic air pollutants. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.